Raider Nation, what's the deal, man? Once again, it's your guy, Panama Fargo, back to y'all live with another episode of the Raider Rundown. Keep tapping on that like and subscribe button, man. We are close to 500. I got a nice little giveaway I'm about to give y'all at 500, man. I got it all set up. I'm going to reveal it at 400, so keep liking, keep subscribing. We 50 away from that, man. Share out the content to your friends. Tell your homies come check out the channel, man. Where else would you rather be? And once again, man, before I say anything else, I really appreciate y'all for helping the channel grow as fast as it's been growing, man. I love each and every one of y'all, man. Hopefully we can keep it growing, keep it rocking, man. So without further ado, topic of conversation day, is Hendon Hooker really the Raiders' QB3 on their big board? Let's get into it. Let's holler about it, man. So apparently, from a report yesterday, Hendon Hooker is the third-rated quarterback on the Raiders' big board behind C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, okay? Now, apparently, he's the guy they have their eye on if they can't get their hands on either Stroud or Young. And, you know, they might be even willing to trade back into the first round to select Hendon Hooker. Now, I was saying on my video yesterday, we don't know how the Raiders board would fall. You know, everybody has their personal preferences after Young or Stroud, and we don't know who they like after those two prospects, right? So will they be willing to take a flyer on Hendon Hooker? Let's keep in mind he's 25 years old, and me consistently, I've had him rated as my fourth best quarterback out of this whole little class here, man. It goes, you know, Young, Stroud, Richardson, and Hooker for me. But if you were to say that the Raiders wanted to trade down, like I said yesterday, the Raiders are looking to trade down and acquire more capital, it can make sense as to why they would trade down, get more capital, select a top flight defender, and try to trade back into the first round to select Hendon Hooker. I can see that plan happening. Funny thing is, right, I love just looking at other reports on how other organizations and how other news outlets view certain players. You know, the report was saying that the Raiders have, you know, their eyes on Hendon Hooker. On Bleacher Report, there was a list of players that, you know, certain clubs should avoid in this NFL draft. They made a list comprising of all 32 people on that, on 32 teams on that list, man, and they gave you a prospect that they should avoid. For the Raiders, coincidentally, and funny enough, the prospect that Bleacher Report said the Raiders should avoid is quarterback Hendon Hooker, okay? Now, the report was basically saying that it's a risk to take someone so already matured in his football developing process to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo. They feel like, you know, Hendon Hooker is just another Band-Aid and wouldn't be a long-term solution to be the Raiders starter going forward. I've had certain sentiments about that, about him being, you know, what's his ceiling. My personal thing is he's so far in his football maturation, how much more growth does Hendon Hooker have in his game? Okay, that's the question mark. And seeing the offense that he came from, we're not going to hold it against him because, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to run what the coach wants you to run. But at the end of the day, the offense that he did play in at Tennessee is very quarterback friendly, man. Very quarterback friendly. Not a lot of things that you see from that offense that can really easily translate to the NFL, right? So, I mean, but if you're looking and just from a quarterback standpoint and a quarterback, you know, fundamental point, he is very pro-ready. Very pro-ready to play, man. He can very much play and wouldn't have to rush him back off an injury at the same time, you know, because we have Jimmy Garoppolo, he can sit. So, but once again, the age comes up, and now you're saying he realistically won't start for you until he's damn near 26 if you're going to give him all that time for him to rehab and really get right. So, is that a flyer they're willing to do? Me, personally, I'd rather take my flyer. If a guy's going to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo anyway, I'd rather take my flyer on a 20-year-old Anthony Richardson. You feel what I'm saying? That at least I know has way more growth to have in his game. You feel what I'm saying? Than what I think Hendon Hooker can grow. I'm not saying he's a bad prospect. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback at all. My thing is how much more growth is going to be instilled in his game because he's already so old. I don't want to use the word old, but he's already so mature in his process as a football player. how much more can he grow, right? So it's just interesting to see, all these reports that are coming out before the draft. Maybe maybe it's all smoke because we probably can't take this too serious. We all know how it is leading up to the draft. And as soon as the draft is here, we have a bunch of prospects and picks that are getting picked. And we're like, well, nobody expected that shit. I mean, it happens every year. So smoke screen season, but we have to keep this in mind, man. So if the Raiders end up making a move to trade down, keep this conversation in mind. Keep this video in mind. Once again, make sure y'all keep liking and subscribing to the content, man. We are close to 500. Got a smooth giveaway for y'all, man. Can't wait to reveal it to y'all once we get to 400, man. But until then, keep liking. Keep liking. I said like twice. What the fuck? Keep liking. Keep subscribing. Keep sharing, man. And at the end of the day, man, I always keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on a Raider Rundown.